the Grey Hat Beard podcast.
Hello and welcome to part 2 of show 37 of Grey Hat Beard, the modern workplace podcast. If you haven't listened to part 1 that was out last week, we had some great chat about the latest news, why you shouldn't print out things and leave them behind bus stops because that's a really stupid idea, and why you probably shouldn't have printers that work because then you wouldn't make that mistake in the first place. So do go and listen to that, and we chat about all the great news about Windows 11 and some of the not so good news as well. But we're on part 2. And we are joined again by Luise Freese, who's now going to be talking to us about the PnP Community Blogs. So, Luise, what are the PnP Community Blogs?
Yeah, so in PnP, so the Patterns and Practices team, we thought it would be a very, very good idea to have just like a central place where everyone feels welcomed, which is very inclusive, where we just like share what we learn along the way. So we created a so-called hub on Tech Community. You will find this at aka.ms/m365pnp/community/blog. So we put that in the remembered, right? So we'll put that into the show notes as well. So you can find it in at this link, and you will find just like a vast variety of different blog posts about SharePoint and Teams and Graph and Identity and Power Platform. So just like everyone who wants to extend M365 is welcome to blog there. We share our knowledge and engage with the audience. And so this was kind of my idea. So I run this baby, and I'm very, very happy that we have just like so many dedicated authors and that things are really growing well. So it's also the home of the recordings of our PnP community calls and of right now new in town, the M365 Developer Podcast and the PnP Weekly Podcast. So we just like try to just like get a lot of great content for our developers and makers just like on one side, so that we do not have just like this super shattered experience where you need to know just like a lot of sites and then scroll through them, or just like click from one place to another, but just like have one central location.
Luise, what kind of level is it targeted at? What is it, sort of deep 400, or is it more introductory?
So most of the content is super introductory. So we have a lot of how to get started with XYZ content. So sometimes it's a little bit more advanced, but then we always refer to just like part 1 of that. So but you will almost not find any level 400 content, because we believe that this content needs to have its place and it's very valuable, but we reach most people if we go for level 100, so beginner content, and get people started, because people are lost somehow. So there is lots of great tag out there, and we just need to make it easier for people to just like begin to learn and just like point them into the right direction and say, hey, look, here is how to get started. Here's content for you. You can learn this. Please watch this video instead of just like, I don't know, just like 500 resources. So we do not just want to list things, but really take people by hand. And we think that the PnP model of providing a very safe place to learn with community calls where we demo stuff. So this stuff can be a little bit more advanced. So because it's more about solutions. So Kevin was our guest as well. So that was pretty cool. So I was so happy for him. So that was nice. And just like a body system where we take unexperienced speakers by hand, or our sharing is caring initiative where we make it easier for first-time contributors to deal with GitHub and I don't know, have their SPFX set up so that they have a decent machine to develop everything. So we think that
with those sharing and caring, there's a few different ones now, isn't there? So there's some, if you want to go the developer route, create something in SPFX, get you started with that. But also if you're creating documents, content within GitHub, as we talked about the last part. There's some great sessions just around how to do pull requests, how to do the general
Exactly. So inside of PnP, I contribute mostly to 3 initiatives. The first one is what we already talked about. It's our community blog at Tech Community. The second one is the Power Platform Sample Gallery, where we share Power Platform samples. So because that is code as well, and it can be reused, so no one needs to reinvent the wheel over and over and over again. So we just like to share everything. And the third thing is the Sharing is Caring initiative that I run together with David, Hugo, and Emily, and April. And we are very, very dedicated. So we have a lot of different contributors. Some of them just like they like to write docs, and they do not necessarily think that GitHub was their place. They are confused. Yeah, so they, in their perception, and that was me as well. So about a year ago, so I was GitHub there for developers. I'm not a developer. I do not write code on a daily basis. So sometimes I read code. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I perhaps change a value inside of codes, and then I hit save. I'm just like, does it explode?
But I know we had
this more like that.
I know we had this chat, you and I, Luise, recently, where I kind of shared an idea for something for the happy hour etiquette, and you were like, I'm not a developer. I don't know this, and things like that. But and I kind of forgotten that, because I knew you've sort of been learning JavaScript and you've been doing things on there. You talk about being an open sorceress. Yeah. But for those who can't see it, who are listening on the podcast, Louise got a fantastic open sorceress T-shirt on there. Yeah. But you don't consider yourself a developer. You do Power Platform.
So I would say it depends. I know.
More money in that pot.
Into that swear jar again. So we just want to make it easier for people of all kinds to contribute to the community. And if you like to write docs, and if you find that GitHub is perhaps not your space, we will enable you so that you believe you can contribute. And we will tame this GitHub monster for you. And we will literally take you by hand and walk you through your first pull request or create issues with you. And then see that, well, perhaps it might not look like Word or OneDrive, but it is manageable. So we will not assume that you need to know this already, but just like work you through that. And if you're new into development against SharePoint, then most probably you will need to have some tools that are not installed already on your machine. So we will give recommendations what experienced SPFX developers have on their machines to make development easier, because no one needs to whiteboard that. So we have intelligent and very, very smart tools to achieve all of that. So we just make it easier for people to get started. We remove barriers. And my personal goal, of course, is to bring everyone a little bit more closer together, because on the one hand side, the more diverse the group of people is that contributes to a community, the better the outcome will be. So I'm grounded in that. So my goal is to bring everyone closer together. And on the other hand side, it's just like, so no one is just a Teams developer, or no one does just identity. No one does just SharePoint. So in my solutions, I just like touch everything. I touch SharePoint, I touch Teams. I need to touch identity.
Unfortunately, but that's the nature of it, isn't it?
Unfortunately. So they're making this easier. But and I need to deal with all of that. So it does not make any sense to just like label everything and then put everything in boxes. So we want to bring people together, and we want to bring tech together. And we kind of think that our blog at PnP and the community calls and our various initiatives like Sharing is Caring and our various GitHub repositories where people learn and share and contribute every single day and every single night around the globe are just like a good model to achieve this.
And I think I love the way that the PnP core team is sort of so spread out. It's not just US; it's spread out across Europe.
Yeah.
Lovely mix of male and female as well. And I don't think we have anyone who fits any other gender particularly on the team, but I think there would certainly be spaces for that. I think it's a very open community. That's been built from that. It's fantastic for that, and getting better all the time as well.
Yeah, so I'm pretty blessed to be in that team. So they asked me if I wanted to join last December, and was super happy. And at first I didn't know what would be my task in there. So it was like, I don't know what. And then I was just like, so I was looking for something that I could do, and I thought, hey, what about having a very inclusive space for everyone? And then we saw that once I launched this community blog at Tech Community, that this was the fastest start of a community that we ever saw on Tech Community, and that we launched so many blog posts, and that a lot of very, very new contributors joined, and that they found it super valuable to share what they learned. So if you want to contribute, you do not need to be a Microsoft FTE. You do not need to be an MVP. You do not need to be, I don't know, just like a registered person somehow. You just need to say, hey, I want to share what I learned. And it somehow needs to be connected to extending M365. And if you do this no code, low code-ish, perfect. If you do this with a coded solution, perfect. If you want to combine coded and non-coded solutions and say to the world, hey, I'm super open-minded, there is no or, then I'm personally super happy about it. And I would say just reach out. So you can find me on Twitter at Luise Freese. If you like to, you will find a link to a form where we sign you up, because I need to grant you author permissions, and there's just like some administrative stuff that I do. Just like after 5 p.m. usually, with a nice drink in my hand.
Or two.
Yeah. So one hand I need that for typing, and the other hand for drink, right? So
sorry, just to confirm there. So the best way, if you want to contribute a blog, is to get in contact with you, and you'll send a link to that form.
Yes. I will send a link, so you can find the link also on the blog itself at aka.ms.
So we can put that on the show notes if people want to sort of go direct to that form.
But if you can't find this, or just like want to say hi, or do have questions, or whatever it is, so you can just like reach out on Twitter, and I will just like get you up and running super quickly.
Fantastic. And
cool.
I think one of the questions I did hear from some people was, why would I put it on the community blog rather than my own blog, or should I put it on both? I mean, to my view, the reach of it, I was just having a look, and there was a post from Weldeck that's had over 5,000 views, and it's only been on there a few days. So that the kind of reach and exposure you'll get from that is fantastic.
So I run a little, in quotation marks, social media campaign for all the blog posts. Of course, this is automated, so I do not do this manually, so it is automatically. But we take care that you get the visibility and the exposure that your content needs. So I personally take care of that. And of course, we are in charge of a lot of social media accounts, which can retweet and just like reshare, and so that you get just like a broader visibility. Of course, we do the very same thing on LinkedIn as well. And now is the greatest part. So you own your content. So if you like to, you can cross-post from your personal blog. And just like cross-post, we even have just like fields for a canonical URL, so that we do not get punished by Google for the SEO ranking. So that is quite nice as well. And you can even say this blog post was first published on this and this date on that and that URL, and you can just like put that as a footnote, and we have no problems with that because we want you to succeed, and we want you as authors to feel super comfortable with posting in the M365 PnP community blog. And one of the big advantages is, so yeah, we run a social media campaign on that so that you really get a lot of views and questions. So engagement with your users and valid feedback, just like real world feedback, and not only friends saying, yay, cool, you blocked something, but just like more qualifying feedback. And another big advantage is we mention you automatically in PnP Weekly, which means that you get extra exposure. So if you follow the PnP Weekly podcast, there's always a nice guest. I've been there as well, and so there are other guests as well. They're super nice and very interesting to hear about. And we walk you through, or Valdek and Vesa walk you through all the let's say PnP related blog posts and videos, both from Microsoft and from community that appeared in the last week. So they do it weekly, as the name lets you assume. And you just like get an update in 60 minutes about everything that happened in the last week. So it's just like what happened before at the beginning of a Netflix episode. And I really like that. And if you blog at our blog at Tech Community, we would just like notice that automatically and mention you. And of course, the PnP Weekly gets published in the blog as well. So, and on YouTube, on the official M365 community channel. So that is a very, very big one as well. So you gain a lot of exposure and you still own your content. So we think that this is a quite fair model if you like to share, because if no one reads your blog post,
well, so you basically get global coverage, but that shouldn't put anybody off if they've not written anything for it before. They should be, because they'll have the support from you and the rest of the team. Yep. So it's a gentle way in to actually sharing your thoughts and your experience.
Yes. So on the one hand side, we do not require that you already have your own blog. So perhaps you do not even have an own blog. You do not need to. So if you learn something, you may just share it. And on the other hand side, if you say, yeah, but I'm new to this and I'm kind of uncertain if that is good enough, or perhaps you suffer from imposter syndrome, so hey, welcome to the team. So that's me as well. So then we just like guide you through that. So we give you tips and tricks how to deliver just like a good article, what to do, what to avoid. We can even pair you with someone who has similar expertise or sparring partner or something like that. So that's no problem at all because we all want to help.
And that is such a great opportunity to have somebody to just sort of just give it the once over before you publish it, and just to give you feedback before you publish it. I mean, that is invaluable for anybody starting out. And as you say, Luise, everybody in the community suffered from imposter syndrome at some point, thinking that actually what they had to say was not of interest to people, but actually there is always somebody starting out, and there is always somebody who is going to find whatever you're saying valuable because you're saying it at exactly that time.
Exactly. Yep. And this is why we do this. And this is why I am part of this, because I'm super passionate about learning and community and getting more people, just like, so putting them on the right path. And so it makes me happy.
No, I think it's fantastic. I love this, and I loved your story of kind of joining the PnP team and trying to find a space for it. I think it's such an, I'm going to use a Ponzi word here, sorry, an allegory for kind of getting involved in the community, that there is space for so many people. People think it's been around for a long time. There is still space for these things to happen. Yeah, and you can create things. But you don't just have to create things. You can sort of help share what the great stuff is and get that available to people.
Yeah.
In fact, you can do both. It's not exclusive either. You can get involved in both those things. And I think regular listeners know we love the community, and fully back and say more on that.
Yeah. So you talked previously about Emily Mancini, who happens to be sharing is caring maintainer as well. And she always says, everyone's voice matters.
Absolutely.
And this is so powerful, and I love this statement so much because it really resonates so much with me, because just because someone explained tokens before, does not mean that your explanation will not matter.
No, absolutely. That is so true.
Because everyone will use different metaphors, a different way to explain it, different analogies, use different examples, use different voice or tone or language. Not everyone is a native speaker. So we just have a lot of variety there. And perhaps there is the best explanation, and it does not resonate to me because it's using too much tech jargon or whatever, so I can't find value in that. Or it's just what? So perhaps I got an overview, but I can't put it into use. So I still don't know how to use the token. So now I know what a token is, but I can't use it. And perhaps if you look at this, it's not the best explanation, but it's the best explanation for me. And this means just everyone's voice matters. And while explaining, while writing, while sharing content, you will learn that you get a better understanding of the thing that you want to explain as well.
That is so true. The number of times I've written a blog and kind of thought, I'll get this, I'll knock this out. Oh, hang on, what does happen when you do that? And what about this? And that act of writing it down. It's so important to go back to. I genuinely go back to my blogs to remind myself how to do things. It's often, or how to find links to how to do things. It's so useful for that. But just the act of writing it makes you think about those edge cases, makes you think about those scenarios as well.
Yeah.
So
there is nothing better than having a problem, searching for it and finding your own blog that you've forgotten that you wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just use it as keeping notes. It's keeping notes. It's just going, I've learned something. I'm going to make a note of that because I'm going to need that in the future. If I do, that somebody else will find it useful at some point.
Yeah. So it's just like courtesy to future self.
Absolutely. What I would say is people might be looking at that and going, oh my goodness, thousands of people could be looking at what I've written. I'm a little scared about that. Feel free, start your own blog, which maybe you let 5 people know about, and just let that flow go. If you do feel nervous about that, just start blogging and see where it is. You can always delete those posts, those earlier ones later, or rewrite them. There's nothing to stop you doing that. And if you feel one's really good, get in contact with Luise and get that one out on there. As you feel comfortable, do that.
No, do not wait until you think it's really good. Do not wait.
But if people aren't feeling comfortable with kind of putting it publicly out there, I know we do, but some people don't on there.
But we will guide. We will
let
guide
us know about it.
We will provide help. So of course that. And yes, there is no better feeling than Googling something. Yeah, I knew this. It worked somehow. What was that? And then you Google something, not even Googling for your own blog post, but Googling a problem that you had somehow just a little bit tweaked before. And then you're just skimming the previews. Oh, wow, that seems to be a smart person because they use exactly the same. Oh, that smart person is me.
I will say one thing's better that when you Google for it and you find someone else you've been trying to encourage to write a blog because they're amazing and they start blogging and they haven't told you, and you find that blog post and you see that they've been doing that and you're just like, good. That message is getting through. I think that is a great feeling as well. Yeah.
So a lot of people reach out to me and tell me, hey, Luise, you seem to know everyone. Can you? And that's true. So I'm good in connecting with people. So this is why I build communities. So it kind of fits what I'm good at.
I mean, we know you have your mate Satya who loves your sketches.
Well, yes, he does. So I have a very famous fan. But apart from that, I'm good with people. And a lot of people reach out and ask me, hey, Luise, I want to just like get more visibility, or perhaps I want to become an MVP eventually. So what should I do? And I always tell them, so share what you learn. And a very, very great opportunity is PnP, because we kind of do this professionally. So it's not that anyone would pay me for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't get paid for this. We should
do
be very clear to people on that.
Still, but still, we are very serious about that. So we have lots of fun. Don't get me wrong. So we have a lot of fun at PnP. So in the community and of course in the team as well. But we are very, very, very serious about things that we want to achieve. So we have objectives and we measure things. And of course, we want to be successful. And this means that apart from all the fun and all the funny emojis and GIFs stuff, we really need to track results. And that means that we need to come up with good plans. And turns out, if you take things seriously, and if you do this professionally and not just like, yeah, so this happened by coincidence, or perhaps this could work, but no one's going to track results. If you take it seriously, then it really works. So if you try to find just like a way to gain more visibility, get more exposure, get known to be an expert for XYZ, then that could be a great way to start.
Absolutely. And it's, you talk about getting to know people. What I've loved about the community is getting to know more people, even during this lockdown, getting to know more and more, and it just inspires you onto more and more things. But
yeah.
No, thank you, Luise. I think we should probably start to finish up now. It's my son's birthday tomorrow, and I can hear my wife starting to blow up balloons. So I think I know what I'm going to be roped into any minute now. But it's also reminded me I do need to write my blog on that, which I've half started and haven't got through. So I definitely have a blog plan to come and appear on this. So it'll be there eventually. Sorry, Luise.
Surely nobody has lots of blogs that they've started and never finished. That's just not the way it works, is it?
Yeah, well, so since I have my blogs in a public repository on GitHub, I tend to finish things. So there's just like,
so we can go and see all your drafts up there.
You can see my drafts. You can pull requests if you find typos.
That's brilliant. I love that. But I think it's a great way of doing it. And I love the fact also that this is within the tech community one. So even if you're not wanting to do the GitHub and learn about pull requests, it's easy to go in and do and create content for it. So it's and being in tech community, you've got all the greatness of it's got the RSS feed, so you can subscribe to there. You can set up alerts to get the latest blogs and news that comes out there. So do
and it's where the cool kids go, obviously.
and what's sorry?
It's where the cool kids go to.
Absolutely. And some of us as well. I did see Gary's blogs on there as well, so it's not all the cool kids, but
just because he's not here, that's a bit harsh.
Hey, that was mean.
I'm only saying that to find out if he listens afterwards and see if I get the message back. Thank you so much, Luise, for coming on. I've been meaning to get you on the show for a while, and it was really good to have you talking about the PnP stuff and
thank you.
Generally bringing some more sparkle to our lives.
Yay!
We will be back in a couple of weeks' time, and I've lost who we've got on, but we'll have another great guest. I think the next guest I'm still trying to persuade to come on slightly. He's feeling a bit nervous about it, so we'll be having a chat and see if he wants to come on, and if not, we'll certainly find someone to come and join us. I know we're getting into summer holiday season, so it becomes a little bit trickier, but we'll have some good recordings coming up and all the latest news. But thank you again, Luise, for coming and joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure as always.
I have been Gray.
I've been Hat.
And Luise has been our standing beard. Thank you very much all, and see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Grey Hat Beard Podcast. The song Drink Up My Mateys was brought to you by Black Bones under a non-commercial attribution license.